Every year, over 3.6 billion Ferrero Rocher chocolates are sold worldwide. Line them up end to end, and they'd circle the earth more than twice. And that single perfect hazelnut right in the center? Here's the mind blower. It was selected from a batch where up to 40% of the nuts were rejected. There's one more thing most people don't know about these golden spheres. The name Rocher isn't the inventor's name, and the reason it was chosen has nothing to do with chocolate at all. The story behind Ferrero Rocher is deeply rooted in the devout Catholic faith of its creator, Michel Ferrero. Ferrero had a profound devotion to the Virgin Mary and made annual pilgrimages to Lourdes, France, where statues of her stood in every company building. He named the chocolate after the Rocher de Massabielle, a rock grotto in Lourdes, where the Virgin Mary is said to have appeared to Saint Bernadette in 1858. In French, Rocher means rock, a direct reference to that sacred grotto and the rugged walls where the miracles allegedly took place. As a deeply spiritual man, Ferrero saw his chocolates as more than just candy. They were small gifts of joy, almost sacred in their own way. Ferrero wanted people to feel like they were receiving something precious, something worthy of a special occasion. He didn't want to make chocolates for every day. He wanted to make chocolates for moments that matter. And it worked. Ferrero Rocher became synonymous with celebration, with gratitude, with those moments when you want to give something that says, "You're important to me." But Michel Ferrero was also incredibly secretive. He rarely gave interviews, almost never allowed cameras in his factories, and took the exact recipe for Ferrero Rocher to his grave when he died in 2015. What we know about the production process has been pieced together from patents, former employees, and the occasional tightly controlled factory tour. So, how does it all come together? Let's start with the star of the show, the hazelnut. Ferrero doesn't mess around when it comes to hazelnuts. They're the largest buyer of hazelnuts in the entire world, consuming about 25% of the global supply, roughly 120,000 tons every single year. To put that in perspective, that's the weight of about 12 Eiffel Towers, in hazelnuts. But here's where things get interesting. Not just any hazelnut makes the cut. Each nut goes through a quality control process that would make a diamond inspector jealous. First, they're sorted by size using vibrating screens with different sized holes. Too small, oddly shaped, any hint of a crack or blemish? Rejected. The ones that survive enter a 35-meter-long roaster, moving at precisely 1 meter per minute, a carefully controlled journey that develops the hazelnut's signature aroma and crunch. Every nut must receive the exact same amount of heat, because even a slight variation would throw off the flavor, aroma, or texture, making the final chocolates inconsistent. The result is that perfect balance of crunch and nutty flavor that never overpowers the chocolate. Ferrero's signature, refined over decades. After roasting, the hazelnuts are cooled rapidly, and their skins are removed using a process called winnowing, where they're tumbled and blown with air until the papery skins float away. What's left are these beautiful golden brown nuts that smell absolutely incredible. And while those hazelnuts are being pampered, something equally precise is happening in another part of the factory. The chocolate is being made. Ferrero's chocolate recipe is a closely guarded secret, but we know it contains sugar, cocoa butter, cocoa mass, and skim milk powder. The ingredients are mixed in massive conching machines, giant mixers that stir the chocolate for up to 72 hours in premium production. Yes, 3 full days. This process is what gives Ferrero Rocher that impossibly smooth, silky texture. Once the chocolate is ready, it's tempered, heated, and cooled in a specific pattern to give it that perfect snap and glossy finish. The temperature has to be controlled within half a degree, or the whole batch can develop that whitish, chalky appearance called bloom. In a factory producing millions of chocolates daily, that kind of precision is astounding. The assembly process is where the magic happens, and it's a ballet of robotics and precision engineering. First, a thin, crispy wafer shell is molded into a small hollow sphere. This wafer is the hidden structural layer that makes Ferrero Rocher unique. Then, the hazelnut cream filling is made. This is a mixture of finely ground roasted hazelnuts, cocoa, sugar, skim milk powder, and palm oil, whipped until it's incredibly smooth. The hazelnut cream is then piped into the wafer shell, and a whole roasted hazelnut is placed into the center. The filled wafer spheres then move through a cooling tunnel where the cream solidifies just enough to hold its shape. Next, they're coated in that first layer of chocolate, by passing under a chocolate waterfall, literally a curtain of flowing chocolate that covers them completely. After another cooling phase, the chocolates are removed from their molds. They're now smooth spheres with a hazelnut heart hidden inside a wafer shell. But they're not done yet. They're next rolled through a drum filled with finely chopped roasted hazelnuts and crispy wafer flakes. This is where they get that signature crunchy coating. The drum rotates slowly, and as the chocolates tumble, the pieces stick to the still slightly tacky chocolate surface. It's oddly satisfying to watch, like watching cookies get coated in sprinkles, but way more sophisticated. Once they're fully coated, they get one final chocolate glaze, a thin second coat that seals everything in place and adds gloss. Then they're cooled one last time in a multi-zone tunnel until they're completely set. The result? 4 distinct textures in one bite: the crunchy outer coating, the smooth milk chocolate, the crispy wafer shell, and the creamy hazelnut center surrounding the whole roasted nut. Now comes the part that makes Ferrero Rocher instantly recognizable: the gold foil wrapper. Each chocolate is placed onto a small brown pleated paper cup, that little holder you see under every Rocher, and then wrapped in gold foil by high-speed wrapping machines. These machines can wrap up to 600 chocolates per minute, and they do it with such precision that every single fold is identical. But here's something you probably never noticed. The foil isn't just gold-colored. It's actually embossed with a subtle, textured pattern. Run your finger over it carefully next time. You might just feel it. That embossing serves 2 purposes. It makes the wrapper easier to grip and peel, and it catches the light in a way that makes the chocolate look even more luxurious. The wrapped chocolates are then placed into clear plastic boxes in groups of 3, 8, 16, 24, or the massive pyramid displays you see during the holidays. Every chocolate is positioned by specialized robots with occasional human quality checks to ensure they look perfect. Remember earlier when I mentioned that up to 40% of hazelnuts get rejected? Here's the full story. Ferrero's quality standards are so strict that only the most perfect, evenly shaped, unblemished hazelnuts make it into the center of a Ferrero Rocher. The rest aren't wasted, though. Slightly smaller or imperfect nuts are ground up and used in the hazelnut cream filling or in other Ferrero products like Nutella. Almost nothing goes to waste. And there's another layer to this. Ferrero works directly with thousands of farmers across Turkey, Georgia, Italy, and Oregon to cultivate specific high-quality hazelnut varieties. Through their Ferrero Farming Value Program, they provide training, support, and strict quality standards, creating a tightly controlled supply chain that ensures a consistent supply of the exact nuts they need. And here's the kicker. Because Ferrero buys 25% of the world's hazelnut supply, they've actually influenced global hazelnut prices. When there's a bad harvest in Turkey, which produces about 70% of the world's hazelnuts, Ferrero's purchasing decisions can ripple through the entire market. They're not just making chocolate, they're shaping agricultural economics. So there you have it. Ferrero Rocher isn't just a chocolate. It's a precisely engineered miracle of food science, wrapped in religious symbolism, and produced at a scale that's almost impossible to comprehend. And here's the most memorable fact I saved for last. Michel Ferrero, the man who built this golden empire, started with almost nothing. After World War II, cocoa was scarce and expensive in Italy, so his father, Pietro, created a chocolate hazelnut paste using hazelnuts to stretch the limited cocoa supply. That paste eventually became Nutella. Decades later, in 1982, Michel Ferrero took that same hazelnut-loving philosophy and created something entirely new. Ferrero Rocher, a premium chocolate built around a whole roasted hazelnut, wrapped in gold and designed as a luxury gift. One man's wartime scarcity solution sparked 2 of the most beloved treats on the planet: Nutella for everyday joy and Ferrero Rocher for moments that matter. Not bad for a devout chocolatier from a small Italian town. If you enjoyed this deep dive into how iconic treats are made, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We've got more factory tours, food science, and behind-the-scenes breakdowns coming your way. Until next time, thanks for watching.